Hello, and welcome to another episode of Heart to Heart. I'm Dr. Jeff Gold, and I have the honor of serving as the president here at the University of Nebraska. And I'm delighted to host this series where we connect with leaders across Nebraska and beyond who are making a difference in people's lives. Today, I have the pleasure and the honor of being joined by Mr. Mike Cassling. Mike is the chairman of the Aksarben Foundation Board of Governors and a proud University of Nebraska and Lincoln alum. He's also a nationally respected business leader. Under his leadership, the Aksarben Foundation continues its long tradition of supporting Nebraska's prosperity and growth, empowering leaders, advancing workforce development, and improving the quality of life across our state. Today, we'll have an opportunity to talk with Mike about Aksarben's recently released workforce study, the Foundation's role in shaping Nebraska's future, and how organizations such as Aksarben and the University of Nebraska system can work together to keep our state strong. Mike, it's great to be with you on this heart-to-heart broadcast. And our audience always likes to know a little bit about people's background. So where'd you grow up? And most importantly, how did you get involved with Aksarben?
So I'm born and raised in Nebraska. Grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, went to undergrad at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln and got an accounting degree, which I've never used, but it's good in the business world. So I've been involved with Aksarben now for about 10 years. And what really drew me towards them is, first of all, it's business led. So instead of having meetings and meetings and meetings, have more meetings, it's really focused on where's there a problem, what can we do to fix it and get it done. The other thing is, I think, as you mentioned earlier, it's our mission is how do we help the state grow and how do we celebrate our citizens across the state and the great things they're doing.
Well, there is no question, and from my limited perspective, when I was asked to become an Aksarben governor, it was actually one of the highlights of my time here as well. And for the nearly decade that I've been involved with Aksarben, I've been very impressed with very much of the same things that you commented on, the solid business focus. So let's talk about this workforce study because,
Yep.
it's so important that we have an opportunity to make folks aware. How did it come to your attention that there was need for this, and how did it roll out?
So originally, this was actually funded and started by Department of Economic Development. They hired a firm called DCI. I asked the leadership then and the governor's office if I could intervene just to make sure they were going down the right track and doing the right things. Long story short, the money was pulled, but I really liked the research. DCI is a global research company
Hmm.
and really liked where the path they were going down. So we decided it made more sense for Aksarben, which is really focused statewide, to take on this initiative and finish that first study. And I'll talk about the ongoing studies, but it's really setting the stage. All right, here's where we're at today. Here's the situation we face today, and it's not a good situation, and it's something that we need to be aware of and fix.
Well, to your point, facing the reality is critical. Having accurate data to benchmark and compare ourselves to other communities that are similar, and then to have a very carefully worked out, pragmatic plan for the future. So, in a small nutshell, what did the study tell us?
So basically, the study, and we've now gone on to. So originally, the first study was Omaha and Lincoln. So we really looked at what's going on in Omaha and Lincoln. The reality is Omaha and Lincoln is not growing. We've had moderate growth, but that's all been with babies and immigrants. So that's a huge problem. If you said if we would grown at the rate of a peer city, and I'll use Des Moines, Iowa, which I'd say is a low bar. Nice town, but doesn't have the amenities and services and so forth of Omaha and Lincoln. Over the last 5 years, if we would have grown at their rate, it would be $11 billion in new wages in the state and $700 to $800 million in new taxes.
Wow.
I mean, that's transformational. The other thing which we found now is we've added more data to this is in looking at all 93 counties and kind of looking at the six regions that were created in the six regions, one Nebraska.
Hmm.
The reality is our families across the state are struggling because their wages have not kept up with inflation. So the discretionary income in all 93 counties is going down, which is a huge concern because that impacts obviously the families, the restaurants and the barbershops and the bars and everything else down from that. The other thing that we see that kind of affects you is we've had more and more companies move managers and jobs to other states, which doesn't leave opportunities for quality jobs for our kids coming out of the University of Nebraska system. So you're educating them and they're getting jobs, just not in the state. So those are all big concerns. And like I said, these affect all 93 counties. This isn't an Omaha issue. It's not a Lincoln issue. This is a Nebraska issue.
One of the things I've learned about Nebraskans over the last 10 years or so is that when times get tough, the tough get going, right? And Nebraskans are hardworking, dedicated people who roll up their sleeves and are willing to attack small and large problems. And this sounds like something that's got to be attacked. So is there a plan going forward here? And what's the role of Aksarben?
So the plan now is we're starting to meet with senators across the state, and have had very good interaction with them and saying, here's the data. The next step that's going on right now is we're working with DCI and Lightcast to really say why, kind of going back to why are jobs leaving Nebraska? Why are kids having to go chase those jobs in other states? And the other piece to that is how? How do we fix this? And a lot of people, the nice thing is everybody's gravitating to the data. They go and instantly go, how do we fix this? Which is great. So we have DCI looking at what other states, like in Arkansas, that's probably considered one of the best in the country right now for business development,
Mm-hmm.
economic development. What are they doing from taxes, from incentives, from marketing, other pieces to this that are making them successful? Because there's nothing wrong with copying what works for somebody else. So that's kind of the next steps that we're going for. But right now, we're just educating business leaders, senators, mayors, county commissioners across the state about here's the situation and really making sure they understand this is a statewide problem that we need to fix, especially as you look at the discretionary income that's truly across in all 93 counties.
I wonder if during that study we can look at some of the individual sectors because, during my decade of leadership at the Med Center, I think about how much we have grown the faculty and staff, how much we've grown the healthcare workforce. And in spite of what people say, we have not struggled in recruiting talent to Nebraska. I mean, it's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. It's a great place to have a job. And certainly I'm loving it, let me tell you, as a transplant from the coast. And we just need to set that message out loud and clear.
And we're the same way, right? We have no problem recruiting and keeping employees that we recruit from all over the country. So there's no question. I think, one of those things, the challenges is we're Nebraska nice. So we don't tout how much great things we have going on in the state. I think the other thing is we need to work with and ask our business leaders, which we started doing, is like, we need you to start growing in Nebraska. And a lot of them are actually, everybody we've talked to wants to step up and do what's right because they, like us, love Nebraska.
Well, certainly as we go forward in this, please know, and I'm sure you do, that the university is a very willing partner. Anything that we can do more of, do better, adjust our outreach programs, etc. As I said many times, I look forward to the day that every high school senior has at least one night that they get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and say, if I could only go to the University of Nebraska. Wow. And there's a lot more to it than 6 Saturday afternoons a year, as you know, that we are
It
really
is.
excellent at. But those 6 Saturdays do count as well.
But
So,
I do think that university plays a pivotal role as we fix this problem, right? Hopefully we'll get the jobs here and then you educate the kids and get them to stay here. I think the other thing what you're doing is making sure we're educating the kids for the next generation of jobs. Like UNO is doing with AI, like you're doing with engineering and IT at Lincoln and so
mhm.
forth, and sustainable ag. Some of those things that we know where the future's going are critical that we start educating towards those.
Yeah, we've got to have the workforce and we've got to be a magnet for workforce development and frankly create the experiential learning, the internships,
Yep.
etc., that really bind these young women and young men into careers here in the state of Nebraska. As I say, it's Great place. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time today. If people listening to this podcast want to learn more, and they might even want to read the report from DCI and others, is there a place that they can go on the web to get that?
Yeah, at the Aksarben Foundation website, the report is on there. So and they can download it. So it's very easy to get access to. And as we get this further data, all this data will be placed on the website.
And is there a timeline for the second phase of the study?
So the information around the how, we should, what other states are doing basically, we should have within a week or two. The what, as that's actually to your point earlier, looking at different industries and what's doing better or worse and where are people going, will probably be about 45 days out.
So in the near future, certainly well before Santa comes down the chimney, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, hopefully we'll roll up our sleeves and have a big plan to go forward. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your volunteer leadership of Aksarben. I know you're so busy with all your business responsibilities, and yet to take this on is really Herculean.
Well,
Congratulations.
we need to do it for the state
Yep.
that we love.
We're in it together. It's always a pleasure. And to our audience, thank you for joining us on this very special Heart to Heart podcast. See you next time.